Good evening. It is Wednesday, September 18th, 2024, and coming to you from Lonely Tree Media headquarters in Tacoma, Washington. This is the Best Lamm Sports Show. I'm your host, David Lamm. With me is my son, Parker. Say hello, Parker.
Hello, Parker.
Oh, good. Hey, that's the wrong stuff.
What's the wrong stuff?
Technical difficulty there. That is what we should have had. Yeah. Well, it's too late now.
That'll happen.
It's ruined. I hit the button and nothing happened. So I was like, is that the right button? So I hit another button, and then that button didn't do what I wanted it to do. So it was the right button. But for some reason, that button didn't, technical whatnots. It is what it is. That's okay.
Yeah.
We got a few things to talk about. We're going to talk about some fun things because it was pretty exciting, some of the things that happened this weekend. A couple of things, anyway, were exciting. Formula One. We're going to talk about Formula One. College football, the NFL. I don't have a trivia question. So if you come up with one in the meantime, between now and then.
Ooh, I've got two.
Oh, sweet. Perfect. Because I don't have one.
And they're like true trivia questions. So I can give you one now and one at the end.
Okay, go ahead. Let's kick it off with the Best Lamm Sports Show trivia question. Go ahead.
All right. So the first trivia question is: there are 3 NFL teams whose logos are symmetrical. Who are they?
3 NFL teams whose logos are symmetrical.
Yeah, it means they can be folded over on themselves.
Oh, okay. So we're not talking about like symmetrical all the way around. Like you could fold it up and down and side to side. It's just like vertical.
Just a cross. Yeah.
Just a vertical fold.
Yep, just a vertical fold.
So the New Orleans Saints is one.
That is correct.
Okay, hold on.
I knew you were going to be too good at this.
The New Orleans Saints is one. Let me hold on to that thought. Hold on to that thought. I might not be that good at this. There's a lot of non-symmetrical ones.
Well, you grabbed the Saints really fast.
Well, because I can picture it. For some reason, I picture that helmet. I don't know why. don't quote me. I don't know why I did that, but it came to me rather quickly.
It's just the one that popped in your brain.
I want to say the Chargers.
Incorrect.
Because if they just have the bolts on there.
Well,
it's not the same.
Bolt has those weird little edges,
the jaggediness,
ridges, and so if you flip it over on itself, the bolts will be facing the wrong way.
I don't count that. Then I want to say Indianapolis.
That's correct. The Chargers should have lead way to Indianapolis.
So simple is better, but I'm trying to think of a third one. Who's got simple logos? Oh, the Cowboys.
The Cowboys. That is correct. That is the third one. I said this to Cassie, and she goes, well, the Ravens. And I go, the Ravens? And she goes, yeah, it's like that bird facing. I was like, we're not talking alternate logos. We're talking
the regular
main
logo.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting here thinking like if the Bears had the bear on the side,
but they usually have horizontal fold.
But they usually have a C, right? Yeah, and so that would be horizontal. Yeah. But yeah. There's a lot of them that look symmetrical, like the Niners. It's an oval, but the SF
is a big one.
The Steelers, yeah, the Raiders, kind of, but
one that's got a patch.
It's the type, the typing where it says words on it. That's if it says words on it, then it will never be symmetrical. So
it will not be symmetrical.
There is that. Awesome. That is good. That was a good question. That's a good one. I like that one.
Yeah.
All right, we'll save the other one for the end. We'll save the other one for the end. But let's talk about Formula One first because that's what we do. The Qatar Airways Azerbaijan Grand Prix was this Sunday in Baku, and man, I like that race course.
Yeah,
that's a great street course with 90-degree corners and a lot of places where you brush against the walls. It didn't have all of the excitement that I'm used to, where seeing people actually hit walls.
Right.
That's they were brushing them, they were bumping them, but they don't actually crush into them like they did in the past, which I don't know if that's because they slowed things down or because they made changes to the course. But I
have a theory that the cars and the drivers are just getting so good that
less mistakes
there's less mistakes, because even if the driver makes a mental error, the car might not be bad enough to have the problem, or even if the car has an error, the driver might be good enough to deal with the problem. Like, I just feel like there's a lot less boneheaded moments that are super consequential.
Hmm. I could be. Yeah. I like this course. I like the big long straight, the finish straight. I like the castle, twisty turny area.
Hmm.
That's really cool. Although nothing ever happens there. Although this came up, by the way, when I was watching this week. And I've watched this. This what 20? This is probably my fourth or fifth Azerbaijan Grand Prix. I'm guessing since I started watching F1. But I just now realized how narrow that little that little area is where they go up by the castle, right?
Yeah.
And here's what I wondered, and I've never seen it happen, and it can happen at Monaco too because they've got a little narrow thing. What happens if a car hits that wall and goes sideways and is blocking everything?
Yeah.
I
There's video of it from back in the day.
Right.
Somebody took the corner coming out, and so they made that first left, and then when they were making the right, their right tire hit it, and then they flipped sideways, and they were kind of blocking it, and like two cars ran into them before
Yeah.
before there was a flag on it. So it's a problem.
I was just saying I haven't seen that happen, but I'm like, okay, because normally when there's an accident, they just go around, right? And even they go slow, that's yellow flagged, or if it's red, they just flag the course. But if you're stuck behind the car, you can't get out. I mean, you can't even get to the pit. So
Yeah.
that's those people that are ahead of the crash can go to the pit. Do they gain an advantage because they've got more time there? I mean, you can't really do anything with the car, but still,
Yeah.
you're sitting out on the course doing nothing because you'd have to wait for the car to get removed. Interesting. I just never thought of it before until until Sunday when I was watching. I was like, what happens if they just crash right here? Anyway, I don't know. Just something came to mind. Oscar Piastri is your winner of the Azerbaijan Grand Prix in a race that was really close. Him and Charles Leclerc pretty much battled for a long time. There were some other
Yeah.
guys in the mix, but those two were right there pretty much the whole race. Oscar Piastri is a pretty darn good driver. Um, I,
He seems was it unflappable?
yeah, he's not. He doesn't get very excited. He doesn't seem very. But I don't think he's had a whole lot of um, bad experiences yet. You know what I mean? Pretty much everything's been a
Well, but
positive.
that doesn't explain when Max Verstappen first got into F1, he was cussing out race engineers day one. Like,
Well, yeah,
I think there's a temperament that some people have that other people don't have. Like, I think Lewis is kind of emotional. I think
yeah,
George is kind of emotional at the end of races, but during races he seems really really calm.
really kind of
But
robotic.
Piastri's, yeah, kind of robotic. Piastri's that same way. Like,
Yeah.
every time I see at the bottom, it pops up a little doo-doo-doo and lets you know that they're communicating, and it says Piastri. I go, oh, this is about to be boring. He's about to say nothing important. He's having like casual conversations,
Yeah.
well, which strategy we? I don't know. Whatever you guys want to do.
I
I
mean,
don't really care.
right. I love that they were doing fake calls,
Fake calls, yeah, you
pit
got to.
pit pit opposite McLaren, like
Yeah,
okay, like you're going to get them to do something crazy. It's trying to steal signals and whatnot, which apparently
it's
you still can do in Formula One, if you can decipher them.
yeah.
Because I don't any idea what Plan B is ever because it
Well,
it
I
all
always think that like on some of the races they've talked about it briefly, and it seems like Plan A is either the two stop or the one stop, and Plan B is the opposite.
right.
But when they say Plan C, I go, "There's no way there's a Plan C right now. You're full of it."
This is our three-stop strategy, just in case.
Here is our emergency strategy in case a tire flies off while we're
Here's
driving.
here's our red flag restart strategy. That's Plan Z.
Plan Z.
I mean, I don't know how many plans they dream up beforehand, but I swear they just throw them out there. I mean, they give them you don't know what it is. I mean,
Yeah.
you can't know unless you can gain by the context of when they're talking about it. But
Well, so what I want to know is if because they never, I don't understand why you wouldn't come out and say, "Hey, let's go to the one stop." If you're trying to sell
oh,
something to the
absolutely,
other team,
sure.
they don't ever say that. They say Plan A, Plan B. Like, why wouldn't you just say what your intention wasn't, right?
And
But that makes me think there's probably an FIA rule on what you can and
on
cannot say
misinformation,
misleading. Yeah, on
yeah,
misinformation. So that's why
yeah,
they have to go with Plan B or pit opposite this, or they can bring out the people for the box, like the pit guys. They can
right.
come out, but as long as you don't tell them to pit, it's not deception.
It
Like
because
if you tell them and they don't come in, it's not
right.
deception. It's okay. So I think there's probably rules on what you can and can't
We're
say.
gonna have to look it up because I'm sitting here thinking, what's to stop them from yelling out red flag, and,
Exactly,
and keeps
exactly.
somebody just slows down a hair and that's all it takes.
Somebody just screams Lewis is in the wall,
Lewis, yeah, Lewis
and then
Small.
everyone starts hitting their brakes and you just fly right on by. There's
Mm-hmm.
got to be a code of conduct as it relates to misinformation.
It could be. There could be.
So
Well,
yeah.
the main excitement in this race, the front runners had a good run until the end, and Piastri ended up winning by almost 11 seconds,
Which
but
was crazy because that looked like it was going to be
a lot
much
closer. A
closer.
lot
But
closer.
Lando played some good defense for a while there
Yeah,
on Leclerc to help create a little gap.
he did. Lando finished fourth, by the way. George Russell third, um, and Max Verstappen fifth. The crazy part for me was the crash. Um,
Sure.
the crash was all right. All right, who's at fault for the crash? So
I
let
think
me.
if you have to pick someone, it's got to be Checo because he was driving in the middle of the lane and wasn't allowing him a chance to re-enter the lane.
Well, he wasn't exactly rubbing up against the wall either. It's not like he
No,
didn't give him a car's width.
but when Checo pulls into the middle there, so like I'm looking at this, and this is just probably biased by what I'm about to say. Is
Yeah,
I'm looking at the lines in the road,
yeah,
right? Thinking about two lanes, you're two cars wide. There's two lanes, perfect. Except Checo is riding on the lines. The center of his car is on the lines, which means the right half of his car is in the right lane, where
right.
Sainz is coming back into after the corner. Now, Checo moves a little bit, and Sainz is able to get in the spot, but when that happens, they are close.
Yeah, they were right. I mean, they were gonna touch because
It seemed
Checo
like
didn't
it.
move. He was going straight, and I think that the normal thing is for them to come left off the corner. I get it, and
Yeah,
so Signs was used to doing that, and all it took was a foot maybe, and they were
yeah.
in each other. I don't know if you'll. I don't think anything's gonna happen. I don't think
I don't think so.
it's just a racing thing that happened. But you should have heard the explosion at our house. Holy moly! Your mother is a Checo Perez fan, right?
Yeah,
And
right.
so the minute it happened, the WTF that came out of her mouth was I mean, you know how
It woke the dog up.
it did. You know how angry you get at like if the Ducks do something stupid or whatever, or even a video game when something happens and it's crazy. Yeah, it was that. It was that reaction, and I don't think I've ever seen that kind of reaction from a sporting event from your mother. But she was so mad that
Well, she
third
was really
that
mad at the end of the big one, the Abu Dhabi one in
yeah
2020 or whatever that was. She was mad at the end of that.
yeah. Well, she was so
But
mad
maybe
that
not this way.
she had some choice words for Carlos Sainz. Oh my gosh.
I don't know. I watched it probably 20, 30 times, and I watched like a guy who is a former Formula 2 driver. He did a little breakdown, and he says that he's like, this was going to end this way.
Yeah.
Like, Perez was not giving him much room to come back in, and the room he did give him put a tire between his tires.
I
The
don't.
likelihood of something happening is high.
Perez screwed up on turn one somehow or other. He was passing in turn one and then didn't. And I don't know what he did wrong. I don't know what he did to slow down or if he just fell out of position or what he did, but he slowed down because he was
Oh, and
going.
what's his name yeeted on the
Yeah,
inside
right.
and took it, and then
Yeah,
kind of overran the next one.
right. So he screwed up turn one. Had he just made a pass on turn one like he was gonna, then I think he's ahead of both guys, and there he is, right? But no, and then next thing you know, he's in the wall, and that was exciting. I mean, but I don't like them ending under a yellow flag. I really don't. I mean,
It's boring, but I
it.
mean, it should have been done at other times.
It wouldn't have changed the outcome of
It's
this race,
true. It's true.
but still.
Well, what are you gonna do? You gonna red flag it?
Although, let's be honest, a few years ago, Max Verstappen is leading this race, and his tire blows out, and he crashes into the
Right.
wall with a lap left, right?
I remember. Yeah.
Yeah. So anything could happen. But yeah, so making them race it just because anything could happen is what I would be in favor of. But yeah, it's the rules are the rules. So they finished under
Yellow
yellow.
flag to finish under, but also like I don't want to punish Oscar
Right.
by throwing a red flag that then lines you up next to Leclerc to start again. You lost 11 seconds of hard work that you helped develop over this race
but
because people 3 cars back couldn't get along.
agreed. But if you're F1, how exciting, right?
Oh, I
The
mean,
red
that's
flag restarts are
they
so
they
exciting.
literally did it one time. They sold the world on it. They fired everyone involved with it because it was unethical, and now they don't do that anymore.
It is so exciting. It was so good.
It
That's
is.
that's must see
Well, I
TV
think
if
it
you're
should
an
just be a
F1 fan.
drag race at that point, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean,
Both put on fresh sets of tires. Let's both do a warm up lap side by side, and then I want that Baku straight drag race.
or just right, or just you know what I mean. Here, take everybody else out, and those two guys just you know what I mean. Everybody else finishes how they finish.
Everyone who's behind the
Yeah,
crash
behind
goes
the
over.
crash. Yep.
Yeah.
But everybody's in front of the
No, see,
crash.
but that punishes Oscar
He's got to race
for being where he is.
race the last lap and a half. You know,
Or let
or
Oscar get
finish.
an 11-second start
There
and
you go.
then launch.
Perfect. Exactly.
I'm gonna line you up 11 seconds back. Oscar's gonna start on the starting grid. You're gonna line up 11 seconds back,
Yep.
best we can figure, and you'll both start. Good luck.
Yeah. You'll get a green light, and then 11 seconds later, he'll get a green light. Away you go.
Might as well freaking just end the race
Yeah,
because it
you're
doesn't
right. It's a good point.
matter.
That's a good point. But like I'm saying though, if he had to drive an extra lap, even though he's ahead, anything could happen. I
It's
mean,
true. It's
something
true.
something mechanical could happen.
A Coke can could drift across the
Right.
track and blow
Well,
out a tire.
and you heard Russell say at the beginning of the race, somewhere in the early stages, he said something about a plastic bag he thought went into his air
into his
vent. Yeah, but nothing ever came of that, so it must not have been. But I don't know.
more of that misinformation.
Misinformation. That's what I'm talking about. So what this does is this makes the standings. McLaren took a 20-point lead in the constructors championship.
Yeah, it was big
because both Norris and Piastri finished ahead of Verstappen, and of course the crash made Sergio down 17th, 18th, whatever it was.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was a big deal. And then Ferrari gained points because Charles Leclerc finished second. You know what I mean? He finished ahead of Max Verstappen. So everybody's gaining points in the constructors series.
Right.
I I don't think Red Bull can do it the way they're doing it. I mean,
I think they'll still win at this rate, right? There's only 8-9 races left.
the constructors championship.
Oh no, sorry.
Oh, Max, you mean?
No, yes, constructors. You're 100% right. Red Bull is not getting enough points, and
No.
McLaren is just eating all of those points.
McLaren has turned it up since somewhere in the Montreal or in the Canada, Monaco area. It was Italy. I don't know, but they've been doing it all year long, pretty much. And at the beginning up until Miami, Red Bull was just crushing it, both guys, right? And then all of a sudden, Perez can't drive anymore, and it's all Max, and I don't even know what to think of that. But anyway, I thought a good showing from Colapinto and Ollie Behrman in this. I thought it was a really good race from both of them. To be honest with you, I liked the fact that we had new drivers. That was kind of nice.
Right.
Yeah, and I like Ollie Behrman still has like 6 points. He has more than like half the field in terms drivers points. How many does he have now, Ollie Behrman? He's got 7 because he got 1 for this.
7.
He's got 7. Yeah, because he got 1 for this. So he has 7 points, and it's more than Magnussen, Ocon, Guan Yu, Logan Sargent, and Valtteri Bottas.
I'll tell you what, both Williams cars finished 7th, 8th. That's
the Williams cars.
And technically, it's 9th, 10th without an accident.
Right. That's
right?
true.
But Behrman wouldn't have gotten points here. We wouldn't be talking about him.
Yeah.
If cars don't wreck. But still, it wasn't bad drives from any of them.
And Colapinto in his first race, he picked up 4 points. I mean, shoot, yeah. I mean, that's great. So I thought they did very well. I thought, Alex Albon's a good driver. He's in a terrible team.
Yeah, but there was a point when he was at Red Bull and he couldn't stop getting in accidents.
Yeah, but I mean, you grow out of that. Zhou Guan Yu was that guy, right? Logan Sargent did not grow out of it. But
he kept getting in accidents with no one. He kept just
hitting
hitting walls.
That's going to get you kicked out quick. Yuki Tsunoda used to be that way, right?
You're gonna get into an accident. Take another team with you. Don't take your teammate, and don't make it wasteful.
Right. Yuki Tsunoda used to be that way too. He used to give it in all kinds of, but he doesn't do it as much anymore.
Yuki Tsunoda won't be on a team much longer. He can't finish higher than 15th in any race.
Yeah.
And it could be the car, but I don't think so. Because that Red Bull team is supposed to be comparable.
Well, I think you're looking at a bunch of drivers here. I mean, everything. Nico Hulkenberg, Lance Stroll on down. There, that's the 10th. He's 10th in the constructors, in the drivers' standings. Lance Stroll is. He's
Yeah.
10th. But
Yeah,
come
but he's
on,
not. But they're not
he's
going to get
never a
rid of him
factor. No, I know.
because of his dad.
I
So they're
agree.
going to get rid of Alonso before they get rid of. Well, if Alonso's smart, he'll leave and go to a better team.
If he
But the problem is
can,
all the seats are getting filled.
yeah, if he can, because
Actually, I think all the seats are filled. McLaren's good. Red Bull has both players back. Mercedes has that other guy with Piastri. Oh my
McLaren does.
gosh.
Yeah, McLaren.
Yeah.
No, Mercedes
Uh,
has with
Mercedes.
Russell.
They have that young guy. Yeah, with Russell. With
Yeah,
Russell. Yeah, you're right. And then Ferrari has Hamilton and Leclerc. Yeah, I think all the major teams, all the places you could go if you're Alonso to go up are
yeah,
taken.
yeah. Agreed. Agreed. He's a good driver. Fernando Alonso's a really good driver.
He might just be a titch past his prime.
He might be.
Although you wouldn't have thought so last year.
No, last year was right there. I
And
think
then he
there's
wasn't.
car differences this year. I don't think it was the driver necessarily. I mean, it happens. So everybody.
Yeah,
He is what 40. So there's that.
sure. He
But
does look like Javier Bardem,
he does he not?
just a little bit.
He has okay. So he has this really long face, right?
Yeah,
If you look at his face, but he's not tall. And so when you see him out of the car, because you rarely see him out of the car, but when you see him out of the car without a hat on, he looks awkward to me. His
I agree.
he's not a bad looking guy. It's just that his face is so long and he's short. So it's kind of a weird thing to see. Like George Russell, he has a small face,
Right.
you know,
That's
but
a
he's
fair point. I didn't
tall.
think about that.
He's the opposite. He's really tall, but he has a small face.
Well, I'll tell you what's not helping Fernando is he has that beard type thing
Yeah.
that he has. I mean, I guess it's not like a full crazy beard, but he has a beard and it makes his head look longer. But his head is such a box rectangle shape. It's like a perfect rectangle with a triangle on the bottom for his jaw. I think if I was instructing a kids class, I'd be like, all right, draw a rectangle. All right, now draw a triangle on the bottom. That
Right.
is Fernando
That
Alonso.
is your F1 art lesson.
And then draw an itty bitty body.
Yeah, it was good. It was a good race. I liked watching it. It was tight. There was something to watch there, and then of course the crash made everything just crazy. Next race is this coming weekend in Singapore, another street circuit.
Is it getting boring that McLaren's just at the top all the time now? Are we going to go back to this?
No, as long as the races are fairly competitive.
It's true. Even with
Yeah.
McLaren at the top, they're not winning most races. They've won one by like 20
Yeah.
something, but they're not winning most races that way. They're still
Right.
tight, and they're fighting with each other, which is exciting.
And they've only to be fair, they've won 3 out of the last 5.
Sure.
But sprinkled in there's Hamilton and Leclerc, and you know what I mean. So Hamilton has won 2 of the last 6.
Here's
So,
a question for you.
yeah.
Are you starting to view Piastri with the way he's been driving? Are you looking at him and going, man, maybe he's our hope if you're McLaren. Maybe he's our hope to win it and not Lando.
He's a damn good driver. I don't know.
He's driving so much more calm, so much more disciplined, and he seems to be making all the right decisions all the time.
Yeah, it's true.
Whereas
Yeah, I mean,
Lando still botches some things occasionally. He's not as bad this year as he has been in previous years, but
I don't know what you do if you're them. Norris only has a 32-point lead on Piastri, right?
Yeah,
So it's not like
it's papaya rules still.
I don't even know. Anyway, it was exciting. I liked it. So this week is in Singapore. It'll be on Sunday. Is it on Sunday or is it actually on Saturday? The broadcast.
Oh,
Because it's that far ahead of us. Singapore is way out there in the distance, right?
So it is 6 a.m. Sunday. So I think the race is on Saturday night, and it broadcasts at 6 a.m. Sunday.
It's 6 a.m. Oh.
So 5 a.m. for you, I think.
Oh, you think they're actually?
Oh wait,
no.
actually, my computer.
The race.
Well, it says race details Sunday 6 a.m.
Oh, this says race Sunday at 5 a.m. But maybe that's broadcast time. I don't know.
But I'm also in Mountain Time.
Oh, that's true. It would be 6 your
Pacific.
time, yeah. But is that 5 a.m. local or is that 5 a.m. here? I
let's
guess
say
it is.
Local time.
I guess it is.
GP local time.
I don't know.
There's no way they're racing it. No, they're not. Okay, hold on. I'm looking.
All right.
I'm pulling it all up. We're gonna get the whole thing.
It looks like it's regular schedule, Friday, Saturday, and then Sunday. So that's what it looks like.
Oh, it's an evening race. The Grand Prix starts at 10
Oh,
o'clock.
that's why. That's why. Okay.
10 to midnight
Because it
on Saturday.
had it been a 1 o'clock race like they are everywhere else in the world, the daytime races, or it would have been Saturday.
Wait, hold on. No, this says Sunday, the 22nd of September,
Yep.
2000 to 2200 hours
Yeah.
is the race. So that's 10 to 12, or sorry, that's 8 to 10.
8 to 10. Yep.
Is
That's 8 to 10.
Singapore ahead
They're way
or are they
ahead
behind?
of us.
Yeah, they're just ahead. I didn't know if they were behind or ahead.
They're almost a whole day ahead.
Okay, so yes, it is. The
Yeah.
race is on Sunday.
And
Wow,
that's
this is
why
a lot of work.
I asked if it was Saturday, because if it had been Sunday morning, the race had been
Yeah.
Sunday morning their time, it would have been Saturday night or Saturday afternoon our time.
Oh, I see. I see.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yep.
that's why, because the one in Japan, which is a little
Yeah.
further over, is a Saturday. So
It is a Saturday race.
yeah,
That's right.
yeah. Anyway, all right,
Well,
there.
that's because that's an afternoon race.
It's true, right? That's what I'm saying.
And the marina circuit's always an evening
If
race. So yeah,
if
I
it's a
guess it
night
would always
race,
be.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
All
All right.
right. We
Anyway,
learned something new.
that is handled. There we go. All right, let's talk about the Oregon Ducks. Oregon Ducks looked really, really good in a win over Oregon State. 49-14 was the final. It was closer in the first half than it should have been. Oregon State did a really it was 22-14 at the half. Oregon State did a really good job of holding onto the football and not let Oregon touch it. But Oregon only touched it 3 times and they scored all 3 times. So the
Yeah.
efficiency of Oregon kind of outdid the ball control of Oregon State in the first half. And then Oregon State, realizing they're behind, Oregon comes out and scores in the second half, and then it was, they got to do something, right? They're
Well,
suddenly
that's the kicker of the clock. If you want
right.
to burn clock, you have to score. Because if
Yeah.
you risk the chance of not scoring, and then the other team is ahead of you while you're trying to burn clock, and that's not what you want. Because now you got to speed up and change your whole game plan. So Oregon State was not as efficient as they wanted to be on offense, which led to Oregon being as efficient as they wanted to be.
And to be fair, Oregon State's second touchdown was because of a crappy penalty call. Really.
Well, they were still in position to get a field goal, anyways.
Yeah, they would have got 3, but not a
yeah,
touchdown.
Not a touchdown.
I think that was third down. That play.
That's a good question.
I think it was third down, that play. It would have been a fourth down. They would have tried to field goal, but instead they got a free first down on a play that they called roughing the passer with targeting, and it was neither. But anyway, it was neither of those. Dylan Gabriel's 54-yard touchdown run in the second quarter kind of ignited, and then they went for the 2-point conversion, which was awesome. I love it when they do that. So that kind of boosted it, and then you get the Trayshawn Holden touchdown pass from Gabriel, and it was 22-7, and then there was that last drive before the half. They give up the touchdown, but it was a 14-play, 81-yard drive. The other touchdown drive for Oregon State, the Hankerson touchdown, was 13 plays, 75 yards. They were 12. That's what? There were 13 minutes on those 2 drives. That's a whole quarter. Those 2 touchdown drives. Oregon's scoring drives, by the way, were 3 minutes 34, 1 minute 25, 3 minutes 52. And that's kind of what you're used to if you're an Oregon Duck fan. Big plays. And they hadn't had very many big plays in the first 2 games. Chunk plays. But they got them in this one, boy. Woo! 546 yards of offense, or of total yards for Oregon in this one. 26 first downs. And still, the time of possession was only 33 minutes to 27 minutes. Oregon State held it a little longer, but it wasn't like a complete thing, because in the second half, Oregon State couldn't hold on to the football. They couldn't do anything.
The defense did nothing.
Yeah. So it was good to see.
I'll tell you, Oregon State's got that receiver, Walker.
Oh yeah.
That guy's gonna make a fantastic transfer.
Yeah, yeah.
He's gonna make the team really happy next year.
He's gonna be a great Duck. Anyway,
he's gonna be a great Duck, just like Atticus was.
Yeah, do you hear them booing?
Loved how yes, they were so loud.
It was
oh my goodness.
Those were the loudest boos for a kicker I think I've ever heard.
Ever.
Yeah.
It's special teams.
I know.
I know.
Well, and then it didn't help that he was on the field like 10 times, because he.
It's true. They kept scoring.
Yeah, field goals, extra points.
Yeah,
he's always out. He was on the field all game. Had to feel good. Had to feel good. Yeah, it had to feel good if you were him, because he scored a lot of points. 3, 6, 7, 8, 9. So he got 11. He
He
scored
almost
11.
had as many points as their whole team did.
Yeah, he scored 11 points. Oregon State scored 14. There's that. Anyway, I don't think Oregon State's a bad football team. I think that's a pretty good, but they got some good parts and pieces. Um, they were good at times, but
they're just gonna get gutted
yeah, that's
again.
what's gonna happen.
Whatever good parts and pieces you have, unless you build a conference next year, that's something really really good. But I think Jam Griffin, I think he's gonna transfer. Like he
Yeah,
didn't have the best of games, but I think he's going to transfer. I
yeah.
think that Trent Walker is going to transfer. Oh gosh, what is that? They had another receiver out there, or a tight end, Bryce Caulfield is his name. He was pretty good. He made some really good catches. They're going to lose all their good people every
Yeah.
year.
And as good as Walker looked out there, he had 8 catches for 68 yards. That was it. But
Well, everything was underneath.
but it seemed like, but he caught everything just about that they threw
He
at him.
reminded me of Jeff Mail. He
Yeah.
caught everything that was thrown his way. He sometimes tried to do a little bit more with it, but it was perfectly content to take the first, to drop straight to the ground, like avoid the hits. It was a spitting image.
It was a Cooper Cup kind of a performance. You know what I mean? Back when he
Yeah.
was playing, just in college, it was
I was gonna say, wasn't he playing like last Sunday?
well, part of the game. But anyway,
Well, now he's going on IR.
yeah,
so
now
that's
he's
a whole nother story.
God. We'll talk about that in a minute. But Oregon looked good, and then what happens? They don't move anywhere in the polls. They literally in the. We'll talk about the AP poll in a minute. I haven't gotten there yet. I don't understand how polls work. I really don't. I mean, I get it.
Yeah.
There's some people voting, and they do what they do, but clearly, I don't agree with the way the polls work because I don't get it. All right, what else happened on college football this weekend? A lot of stuff. I only have a few things that you want to talk about. First of all, Florida State's 0-3. If you're a DJ Uyangalele fan, what's the bet on where he plays next year? Is he going to play next year? Is he a senior?
He's a super senior. You can't.
Oh, you don't think so? He doesn't have like a one COVID or injury thing tucked in his pocket or
No,
something?
he's already used it.
Oh, all right. So he's done, but he's not helping his draft stock at all.
Googling it real quick just to make sure.
I know because some of these guys play 7 years.
It says he will not be eligible for the 2025 draft. His fifth and final season NCAA eligibility was in 2024. Oh, that's a weird way of phrasing that. That's AI for you coming through. So yes, this is his last year.
Okay. Yeah.
He does not have another year. This is his COVID year.
He has not helped himself at all. They do not
and yet,
look
their
great.
coach loves him.
Well, they've played 3 powerhouses to start the season. So there's that. I don't even understand on what planet you determined that Memphis, Boston College, and Georgia Tech were 3 powerhouses. I mean, you got to say something.
On the planet that you're arguing for your team. Yes.
Yeah,
it makes perfect sense for him and not for anyone else.
Here's what I think will happen. I think that him and oh gosh, what's the coach at Florida?
Yep. What is his name?
I can't think of it. Nope.
Billy Napier.
Napier. I think that Norvell and Napier, don't fire them, guys. Don't get rid of them until the end of the season. Let them play that last game. Florida State. Loser has to quit. Loser's up. Playing for your job in the last game of the season.
I like that you tell them loser has to quit.
Yeah, just tell them ahead of time.
And
yeah.
then you fire them both.
Or whatever. Oh, that's true. You could do that. might motivate them just enough, but yeah, no.
Yeah.
That was bad. We got to see Arch Manning at the expense of Quinn Ewers. Arch Manning was pretty good.
He looked really good.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Well, it wasn't even UTEP. It was UTSA, University of Texas San Antonio. Yeah.
But it's also the Roadrunners. But it's also a game. It's also a game that you're coming into cold.
True.
Because you're sitting over there on the sideline just cutting up and flirting with girls in the first row, and next thing you know, coach nudges you and says it's time to go.
Is that what he was doing?
I don't know.
Probably.
If you were Arch Manning at Texas and you were on the bench, wouldn't you be doing it too?
Maybe. I mean, I don't know.
But yeah, then you guys got kind of thrust into the game, but you had a lead, you had everything you needed. You're way out talent. You're like your talent's way bigger than theirs. So like, just it wasn't hard, but I can see that those are moments when a guy comes in as a backup and they just aren't quite what you expect. He was more than what you expected.
He was pretty good. He 9 of 12, 223 yards, 4 touchdowns. 18.6 yards per attempt, which is amazing. And then he also ran for 53 yards on 3 carries, 17 yards a carry and a touchdown. He looked every bit the part of college football quarterback. Um,
Didn't
Now,
he have a big? He had a big run, right?
yeah, 67-yard run. So he has 53 yards rushing, but he had a 67-yard run for.
what averages are we talking
That
there?
happens.
That means he got sacked twice for
Th-
minus
that happens
14
in college
yards.
football. All right, this is that. In the NFL they take it a different way, but in college football, yeah, that's what happened. Yeah,
That's impressive. He put up a 5 touchdown performance off the bench.
off the bench. Yeah, no, I mean it's
Yeah.
true, but yeah, it's UTSA. It's not like it's a and it was
Yeah,
at home, and
you should smoke him. Yeah.
you should have come out, and it didn't matter who your quarterback was. You guys should have crushed them.
Also, if he has a quarter, a tenth of the talent of Hall of Fame nominee Eli Manning,
Right?
and Hall of Fame inductee Peyton
Yeah.
Manning, he'll be fine. He's
He.
better than most.
Yeah. He will be. He'll be great. I mean, it's a good football team. Texas is good. Don't get me wrong. They're gonna.
Have they announced anything about Quinn Ewers yet? Like if he's gonna
Um,
be.
I don't. I was looking for an update earlier, and I didn't see anything.
Oh, it says he's just questionable for week 3.
Yeah, questionable.
Who do they play next week? Because honestly, if it's
Well, it says.
Louisiana Monroe.
Yeah,
Oh,
they're probably gonna just sit him.
yeah.
Yeah.
Arch, get ready to have 7 touchdowns.
Yeah, Arch might play. Well, and then again, you might be looking at the third string quarterback by the time that game is over.
I'll
So
tell you what, I'm not a Texas fan, but I love the Manning family. I think that they're the first family of football,
sure,
and I am on board with an Arch Manning Texas jersey.
Texas.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah, Texas wins
Like
56-7 though. Yeah, and then you had Georgia struggling with Kentucky at Kentucky. Kentucky managed to get a field goal in each quarter, and was still only lost by a point to Georgia. This was the number
yeah,
one team in the country. They're no longer the number one team in the country, but this is
yeah,
that
they made him
was.
pay for it.
Yeah, they paid a little for it, but I feel like that
A
was
little.
a big struggle. They're giving Kentucky a lot of credit. Um, I don't think
If
Kentucky's
I think if that
great.
same game's at home, I think Georgia falls more than what they did. But because it's a road game, they're willing to go. Road games in the SEC are tough. Blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, that's what they always say. But also Kentucky lost last week at home 31-6 to South Carolina,
Right.
who lost to LSU. So who lost
Who
to USC?
almost beat LSU?
Yeah, who almost beat LSU, right? But South Carolina's
Who USC?
yeah they so
Ipso facto Oregon.
right, exactly. I don't know how that works, but something there's something there. I don't know what it is, but it was 13-12 was the final score of that one. Alabama went into Wisconsin and just humiliated them 42-10, pushed them all over the place. Jalen Milroe accounts for 5 touchdowns. That was pretty easy. The Badgers lost quarterback Tyler Van Dyke. I don't know how much hurt he is, but I know he got hurt in that game. Number 5, Ole Miss 40-6 over Wake Forest. Missouri and Boston College was a good game. If you didn't watch it, 27-21 Missouri. But
It was exciting.
it was exciting.
I saw a little bit of it.
The Tennessee game was not exciting.
Oh
Uh,
my. Okay, that is. I have a bone to pick with Tennessee. What are you doing? You're onside kicking up 35 points.
when would you practice it?
Oh, at practice.
You can
Come on,
get live game practice without hurting yourself at all.
No, I mean, I guess you did pay him $1 billion to be here.
Right.
You might as well get your money's worth out of their ass.
It,
So.
it seems a little wrong. You're right.
But,
I agree.
But I love looking at the box score because it's first quarter 37 points, second quarter 28 points, 3 points, 3 points.
Yeah.
Like what? He's only scored 6 over the course of the rest of the game.
Yeah. So what happens when you take your foot off the gas?
They really did, but their defense they didn't give up any points.
Yeah. Miami crushed Ball State 62-0.
As they should.
Woo. Utah.
Cam Ward looks good. He might be my Heisman Trophy front runner right now.
Yeah, Cam Ward is good.
Yeah.
Utah struggled a little early with Utah State, but ended up winning 38-21. Oklahoma State blew out Tulsa 45-10. Oklahoma struggled with Tulane for a while, but put them away eventually. Yeah, 34-19. LSU and South Carolina that was a good game.
That was a good game to watch. That missed field goal was a heartbreaker.
Yeah, that's for sure. And then Michigan struggled with Arkansas State. I'm not sure what that was exactly, but
well, it was 28-18, but it was all fourth quarter.
Yeah, but
they were in control for a lot of that game.
I get it. I just don't feel like 28 points is enough against Arkansas State from a team that's, you know, a ranked team. I feel like
Well, if, yeah,
you're up
we
28 to
all felt
3.
that way when Oregon only scored 20 something against
It was
Idaho.
it
Yeah,
was never in doubt. Right? We can agree. Is never in the game was never in doubt. But it was, it was 28 to 3, and they scored. Arkansas State scored with 5.5 left. They scored again with 8 seconds left. So there was never going to be a chance for them to actually come back. But that's giving up 2 touchdowns late.
happens you take your foot off the gas pedal, right?
You know what I mean? That's you should have put your foot down and not. You should have scored again and not let them score one of those at least, and then you win 35-10. And just optics look better at that point.
Agreed.
But Davis Warren 3 interceptions doesn't help, right?
Yeah.
Because that's what kept Arkansas State kind of in the game, throwing off his back foot and making some bad decisions. But anyway, there's that. That game was closer than it should have been, but we don't know about Michigan how good they are anyway because they lost a lot of people and a coach. The big one, Notre Dame pummeled Purdue.
Yeah, they took their frustrations out.
Just pummeled Purdue after the Northern Illinois loss.
I didn't see them like I think Notre Dame's better than Purdue is.
Yeah,
but I did not see it.
Not that.
Not like this.
Not like that. No.
Yeah. So which means Purdue plays Oregon State this week, which means Purdue's about to take their frustrations out from getting pummeled on Oregon State.
Maybe we'll see. I mean, who knows?
Either Purdue's bad, or this was just Notre Dame being grumpy and trying to make a statement.
Yeah. And then the other top 25, Nebraska beats Northern Iowa 34-3. Dylan Raiola looks pretty good. I'm not going to say he's great. He looks good.
I like the way he plays. If he was the quarterback of my team, I'd have a lot of confidence in the way he plays.
Correct.
So yeah, I hate the whole Patrick Mahomes look-alike thing. I think it's weird, but
it is weird.
But I also get it.
Plus, they have a former Duck on the Nebraska team, so Dowdell, who?
Do they really?
Yeah. So.
I didn't know.
Yeah, so I don't know how long he was at Oregon. He wasn't at Oregon very long, but Dante Dowdell was Oregon Duck. But he ran for six carries for 55 yards in this one.
This is an interesting part of the world we live in now with college football and the transfer portal is that every once in a while I'll see a name and I'll go, that sounds familiar.
Yeah.
That name sounds familiar. And then I'll look it up and go, oh, crap, he was on our team.
Yeah,
I was probably excited about him getting signed to us at one point.
He was the third string running back at some point.
And then he just left.
Oh, and I forgot also the Friday night games. Kansas State pummeled Arizona 31-7. Kansas State's a pretty good football team. I'm not gonna lie. I thought Arizona was a pretty good football team. At the end of last year, they looked really, really good. But
it's because I went through Manhattan and put my blessing on that stadium.
That's probably what happened. Yeah.
I got you that T-shirt from there. So
yeah.
Now you have something to wear when Kansas State beats up on the next team.
I do.
When they beat up on Colorado is when you put on the Kansas State
Oh my gosh, I will for sure when they play. That is not. You're not wrong.
100%. I've got the hat sitting to my left, and I'm ready to wear it.
Next, whenever
they play Colorado.
Week 4 games. Oregon's got a bye, so they got a week off before they play UCLA. This is not a big deal. I don't like the fact that they're playing UCLA as their first Big Ten game. I just don't. I want to play a Big Ten team.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
It would make more sense. It
would
feel more real.
Yeah. The big games this coming weekend, Nebraska and Illinois are playing both 3-0 and haven't played a Big Ten game yet, but both are 3-0. That'll be an interesting football game. It's 5 o'clock on Fox Friday night. Ohio State's going to blow out Marshall on Saturday. Clemson and NC State could be interesting. I don't think Clemson's that good. I don't think NC State's.
And I don't think NC State's that bad.
That bad, right? So that's going to be closer than you think. That's an ABC 9 a.m. if you want to, if you're an early Saturday guy. 9 a.m. USC and Michigan, Big Ten battle in the Big House. That's going to be a good football game.
That's a good litmus test for Michigan if
for
they
both
actually are good.
Yeah, for both teams, I think, because USC going on the road, that kind of thing. UCLA and LSU. UCLA got pummeled by Indiana. I don't know how good UCLA is, but yeah, that'll be interesting. What else we got? Louisville and Georgia Tech. That could be more exciting.
A powerhouse versus a powerhouse.
Could be. Yeah, there's a powerhouse. Yeah, I think so. And here's the interesting one. Number 12 Utah plays at number 14 Oklahoma State. ESPN says Oklahoma State's like a 60% chance of winning this game. And I'm like,
they're being credited as a 2.5 point favorite. We all know that means nothing.
Yeah, oh, I know for sure. But I was like 60%. That's pretty favorable. I mean, it's not like a 50-50. Utah's you ranked you. I mean, some people obviously ranked Utah
Sure,
higher than them, so that's
you're
weird.
giving them a tenth based on location.
Home
Is all
home
you're
field,
doing. Yeah.
maybe. Tennessee at Oklahoma. There's going to be another great SEC game right
That's
there.
yeah.
4:30. That's the afternoon um, feature game. Let's call it that. On ABC and ESPN Plus. Yeah, Texas is going to rest everybody against Louisiana Monroe, and then Kansas State and BYU are both 3-0, and they play at 7:30 on ESPN. That might be a good game as well.
I think Kansas State should thump them, but
Oh,
BYU's quarterback is not bad.
Retzloff, he played somewhere else before. I just don't remember where.
Do you think so?
I feel like he played some other place. That name rings a bell. But maybe he's got a relative, or maybe I don't know. Anyway,
Maybe
I
he's got
mean
a relative.
Manning. That name rings a bell. Anyway,
According to this, Retzloff has been BYU for 2 years.
okay. I don't know. Maybe he was a recruit from somebody, or maybe he was gonna be somewhere else. I don't remember. This name rings a bell for some reason.
The name Retzloff just kind of
Well, Retzloff is not something you just. I mean, you don't forget it if you heard it, right? It's not.
right. Well,
It's
because
weird.
you got to keep an eye on the Russians, right?
If his name was Smith, I wouldn't have probably remembered him, but Retzloff is one of those names. So.
Jake Smith. No, if his name was Smith, he would have gone to BYU.
Oh well, that's true. He would have. Yeah, yeah.
He would have been
He's a
there
legacy.
earlier.
Yeah.
Legacy.
He's he's a legacy. That's what they call him, right?
By the way, does BYU have some of the best jerseys in the country?
The pretty
Because
blue ones.
well, they have their pretty blues, they have their dark blues, they have their whites, and then they have a black. But just their basic uniform layout, it's basic, but it's edge. It's cool enough to feel like it could have been worn 30 years ago or 20 years in the future. Like it feels like it's almost the perfect uniform. I don't love their logo, but
Right.
their uniforms look good. They always have looked good.
You know, there's certain teams in college football I like the way their uniforms look, no matter what. And like Texas is one of those. I always liked the
That
burnt
classic.
orange with the white. It looks good for some reason.
Ole
Um,
Miss has great
Ole Miss
uniforms.
when they wear the blue. I love the
Those baby
blue.
blues.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's
And
really
and
pretty.
and for my money, nobody has a better college uniform than UCLA. UCLA is blue
Their
with the
classic
gold.
blue.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
that looks great. When USC and UCLA play, there's no reason why they should not be wearing red and blue, and it just looks. It's a feast for the eyes. The red and yellow, the blue and gold. It just looks good. Like when Oregon and Oregon State play, and Oregon's wearing green and Oregon State's wearing orange. It pops. There's this thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It
There's
looks
the
pretty.
Austin texted me on game day and goes, "Why are the Ducks not wearing green in Corvallis?" And so I had to tell him, I was like, there's a lot of reasons why it could be happening, but the way it works is that the week before, so after you finalize week before, and you send information to the other team, you submit information to the team and the NCAA, and you have to submit your jersey choice, and then the other team, the home team, can reject it.
Right.
Right? They have that right because you have one designated home and one designated away, one light, one dark, or sorry, versus one dark, one light.
Right.
And the other team can reject any option. And I was like, so it's hard to say why they wouldn't do it. Like it literally could have been like, because I know John Smith was not a fan of Oregon wearing green inside of Reeser.
Right.
That was something he said. I don't like it. I don't like when they were green in here.
Oh,
but they
geez.
allowed him to wear it one time in
Right.
2022, I think it was. But I don't know. It's hard to say why they would not allow it because it looks so good when
Yeah,
one team wears orange.
It's visually appealing. I like
It is really pretty.
as long as the teams have differing colors. I don't have any problem with them both wearing the dark because it just looks good. Um, if Georgia, the Georgia Kentucky game would have been a perfect example. Kentucky wears blue,
Oh,
Georgia wears
and-
red.
Oh,
Oh yeah, it looks gorgeous.
all American game.
Yeah, it looks great. But yeah, anyway.
What would be the best color matchup?
Oh my gosh.
If you can pick any two colors to see on a field, I'm kind of thinking
So
LSU's purple. And
yeah, I
gold
was gonna
has to
say
be
LSU.
somewhere.
I was absolutely gonna say LSU. But if it's
LSU
LSU,
versus Florida.
no, I don't like.
You get the blue and orange.
No, I think you need LSU and I don't know, like Ohio State, the gray and crimson, or
Yeah, okay, I see what you mean.
or USC. I mean, that game was
Well, yeah,
could
they
have
already
been
did that,
better
but
had they both been
could have
wearing
been better. Could have
home.
been visually better.
Right, it could have been. Um, but LSU, yeah, LSU's purple uniforms look really good. I
Yeah.
that's a good color.
I even really like LSU's white uniforms. Like
Yeah,
it's just such a classic look, and they wear white at home all the time. So
yeah,
I don't
yep.
know.
All right. Well, we'll talk about that later. Well, maybe we'll come up with that. Our top five visually appealing games. What we would like to see. Um,
Oh yeah.
who's wearing what? Anyway. All right. So right now, AP top 25. Oregon didn't move. They're still ninth. This is what I was saying earlier. Miami jumped them, and Penn State fell behind them. But all those teams won. I don't even think Penn State played. Did they play this week? I don't even think they played this week. Anyway, so I don't understand. Well, Miami beat Ball State 62-0. Okay, is that better than an Oregon 49-14 win over Oregon State? I don't think so.
Yeah.
Not the efficient way that Oregon looked against them. But somehow or other, Miami's now ahead of them, and I'm like, okay, fine. It'll all wash out in the end. But um, Miami is really kind of the only hope the ACC has, right?
The thing is, we gain points though.
Yeah,
Like
it's
last week we were at
true.
1077. Now we're at 1093. So
1093, yeah.
it's not much of a game, but people put some more stock in us.
Right. Yeah,
So
and the coaches seem to think Oregon's still pretty damn good. So they're right there at
yeah,
6. So I don't know. Not that any of this matters because none of these people who vote for these things um,
matter.
matter at the end of the season.
Yeah.
None because what week 8 or 9 or whenever it happens,
Yeah.
all of a sudden it's a whole different group of people that tell you how good these teams are.
And they've proven in past years that they do tend to listen to like your top 3 or 4, like, but I think like the world kind of knows who the best 3 or 4 teams are. It's once you get past 3 or 4 it starts to get questionable. They've
Yeah,
shuffled those teams up a bunch in the past.
yeah, and they'll
So I
continue.
remember an AP poll one year had Oregon at like 9 or 10, and then the thing came out and we were at like 6,
Yeah,
and everyone was like, "Oh, they jumped so much." It's like, no, that's where they should have been.
right. Yeah, it's kind of weird. Um, anyway, let's talk about the NFL.
Yeah,
Because some things happened.
a lot of things
A
happen.
lot of things happened. Let me get to it because I didn't have it. I didn't have it pulled up. I have it pulled up somewhere. I just didn't have it right there. Where are my scores from last week? What happened? Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Hold on. Give me 1 second. So we can talk about it and sound like we
Floating
know
all
what
around.
sound like we know what we're talking about. Thursday night game. Bills Dolphins. Bills crushed the Dolphins 31-10. Tua throws 3 interceptions before he gets concussed. Running for a first down, and he put his head down and ran. Oddly enough, runs into Damar Hamlin. Um,
Damar Hamlin, yeah.
right? And this time Tua gets his fourth concussion in the NFL.
This
Um,
is number 5.
this is number 5. So now he is on IR now. So the earliest he can come back is week 8. There's that. But I'm almost of the belief that at this point, he shouldn't come back this year. If you're going to keep him long term, if he's going to stay and play NFL football, I think you don't risk another one this year. Let him just be backup quarterback at best. That's just me talking. I
But the
don't know.
but the problem is that it's not just him you're worried about. You have other guys on this team, other talented dudes who all have contracts. Tyreek Hill's contract's up in 2026.
Got it.
What's to stop him from saying, "Oh, you're keeping 2 out the rest of this year, and maybe we get him." Like I need to go somewhere else. Like you have a lot of guys like that. You have Kendall Fuller in your secondary, whose contract's up next year. Raheem Mostert's up next year. Skylar Thompson's up. No, I mean not. Maybe he might need him, so you might need to keep him around. There's a lot of guys in 2026 who
Yeah,
are ending. A lot of your big guys.
I get it. I
So at some point you have to commit to going away from him hard. Like it can't be a soft, oh,
All
we're just
right.
gonna slightly bench him and eat the contract, and like you have to start trading people to get someone competent.
Well,
Like you might want to right now you might want to trade for Drew Lock. Try and take
well,
him away from the Giants.
well, yeah. But I don't. You're not going to get rid of Tua. No one's going to take him.
Well, no, you can't trade him. You
Right.
just have to
Get it
ride
someone else.
out.
Yeah.
Well, you have to right now you have to determine if it's cheaper to fire him and pay his
Mm,
guarantees,
right.
right? Or to keep him and pay out his entire contract,
Right.
which
Yeah.
is $100 million more than his guarantees.
Yeah. I don't know.
So
We
don't
can.
know.
I think we can agree the Buffalo Bills look really good though. Um,
I did not expect that.
Yeah, they look really, really good. They rolled into
I thought they
Miami and just
lost way too much.
no, they look really, really good.
Really
Um,
good.
Saints over the Cowboys just humiliated them at home, 44-19. The Saints have scored 91 points in 2 games. Their offense looks damn near unstoppable.
Yeah, it's
Alvin
incredible.
Kamara's back, right? And
Seems that way.
catches passes. He runs for things, and
I
Shaheed.
know Alvin Kamara's back. He had 44 points against me this week in fantasy.
Ra-
That's how I know he's back.
Rashid Shaheed is a good wide receiver. They've got some guys, Shaheed and Olave.
Olave.
Yeah, that's a loaded team with Derek Carr. And
Doesn't seem like it should be that loaded, and yet
Derek
it
Carr
is.
doesn't have to do much. He didn't have to do a whole lot in this game. But this is just another example of the Cowboys being the Cowboys, right? And you don't know what you're getting. You're 1 week they're this, and the next week they're that, and
Yeah.
you just can't tell. And there's way too much talent. You get the highest paid quarterback in the NFL to be losing 44-19. I know that's a defensive thing. I get it, but
Yeah.
he's got to be able to. He knows he's in a shootout. The other team is scoring every time they touch the football. You got to be able to come back and do that too. When it
Yeah.
when it turns that way. Anyway, what do I know?
It's just tough because you have to pay these guys to keep them around. Like you have to,
Yeah,
but you don't want to. He has the 22nd best QBR in the league.
yeah.
He's 2-2 for touchdowns and interceptions. You're paying this guy so much money.
Buccaneers beat the
Uh,
Lions. Buccaneers beat the Lions 2016 in Detroit. Um, I I'll be honest. Baker Mayfield looks good. He looks like a good, competent NFL quarterback. They didn't dominate this game. This was a close game. But Jared Goff, 307 yards and two interceptions, no touchdowns. I'm like,
yeah.
that's not helping,
Well,
right?
they had him throwing the ball
A
a ton
ton.
in this game.
Yeah, that's
Like
true.
you have good running backs
Yeah,
like on your team. Why are you hucking the ball, so much? I don't
55
understand.
times. Yeah, 55,
55
55
times.
pass
Is
attempts.
Jameer Gibbs broken?
He
Like
never
what's
got
going on?
he never got sacked. Jared Goff. He didn't get
That's
sacked in
that's
this.
really impressive,
Yeah,
actually. Hey, go Panay Sewell or
yeah.
Sewell. Sewell.
Sewell's amazing. Um, Baker Mayfield, on the other hand, he only threw the ball 19 times. He got sacked 5 times. So, but
And
that's
still had 2 touchdowns.
but that's also Aiden Hutchinson, who had four and a half sacks in this game.
Gosh, I thought he was going to be decent, but I didn't think he
Yeah,
was going to be like. He is unreal. He's
crazy
unreal to watch.
fast. It happened. He's strong, but
Could you
it's just so
imagine
fast.
a team that has Aiden Hutchinson on one side and T.J. Watt on the other? Like,
Uh,
assuming they were rushing from, like, they could rush from the opposite side. Because I don't know.
right.
I don't even know. Like, I could picture they put Aiden Hutchinson on the left and he just has no clue what to do.
Yeah,
But
it's a
that would
zoo.
be terrifying.
It's a Zoolander thing. I can only turn left,
Zoo-
right?
Yep, TJ and them can only go right.
I don't know if that works that way, but yeah, Aiden Hutchinson's impressive when you watch him
Yeah.
play, and he doesn't. I know he's young. This is year what 2? I know he's young, but he doesn't take plays off. You see guys take plays off that are older. You just watch them, right? There are some rushers where they go, okay, I started rushing and I'm not getting in there, and they don't go. But he does not. He has this motor, and it just keeps going, and he'll lose it eventually. I mean, that's just kind of
Yeah.
you'll get worn
It'll
down,
come
and
back.
yeah, you'll be that saving all your energy for third down kind of a guy.
A
But
knee injury or two
oh yeah,
will stall out late game effort or
oh for
late
sure,
play effort.
for sure. Um, but the Lions are 1-1 after losing at home. Colts lose to the Packers. That was an ugly football game. 16-10 Packers. Malik Willis
A lot of
Ca-
ugly football games.
carrying the Packers to victory. Anthony Richardson threw 3 interceptions in this one for
Yeah, it
Indianapolis.
doesn't hurt.
It doesn't. But Josh Jacobs, 32 carries, 151 yards for Green Bay. That's what won the game.
Yeah,
You can run the football like that, you're going to win a lot of football games.
absolutely.
Aaron Rodgers gets his first win, 24-17 over the Titans at Tennessee. Tennessee's 0-2. That's not a great start. But Aaron
Is
Rodgers.
it unexpected though?
No, but Aaron Rodgers also didn't have to do a whole lot in this one. They have some good running backs too. I mean, Brees Hall and it's a good football team, and I think that their defense is what they're going to rely on. The Jets are, and I think that their defense is going to keep them in a lot of football games. But um, we'll see more. We'll know more as we go.
And they
Like
play tomorrow night.
they do, they do. Yeah, is that Jets Bills? Who plays
No,
Thursday?
it's a
Jets.
much worse team. It's
Who
it's a
who are they
Austin
playing?
called it Jets Patriots.
Patriots. Jets Patriots. That's what it is. It's a
Austin was
division
like, it's
game.
a terrible game, and I'm like, I don't know. Divisional games are always fun.
I think it'll be a good game. I think the two teams are fairly even from what I've seen from the Patriots. They took the Seahawks to OT,
And they
um,
beat
and they
Cincinnati in
beat
Cincinnati.
Cincinnati. Yeah.
Although,
Uh,
did you see that first that report that came out that the touchdown that was called back on the Cincinnati tight end should not have been?
yeah.
It should have been ruled a touchdown, and that would have given them the lead with almost no time left.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's unfortunate.
It happens still. I mean, in our age
Tough.
of reviews and replay and all that stuff, shit still happens. What are you what are you gonna do?
It's life.
It's
Yeah.
it's part of the game. It's what I like about sports, the human part of it. That you don't know that Saquon Barkley's not going to catch that ball out of the backfield on 3rd and 3, right?
Oh,
You, I mean, it's
I am excited to talk about that game when we get to
okay.
it.
We're not there yet, but yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, you don't know that that's coming because you have
Yeah.
no you assume that's a given. It's right there. Anyway, Seahawks win 23-20 in overtime. Jason Myers 31-yard field goal. The Vikings beat the Niners 23-17, and man, if Sam Darnold didn't look good. Um,
They did.
that was weird, right? I mean,
Two games in a row. Sam Darnold has
yeah.
looked.
Justin Jefferson tweaked his hammy or something, but he's okay, or a quad. I think he's still okay. I think he's not hurt. But 4 catches, 133 yards. By the way, that's a 30-something yard average per catch. That's
It's incredible.
pretty
Yeah.
good. Um,
No one
and,
said he was bad.
and the Vikings are 2-0. So all right, go Vikings. Commanders beat the Giants. No one cares. We can talk about that. The Chargers are their first 2-0 start since when? 2012. With a 26-3 win
Is
over
that right?
yeah. Yeah.
Playing some defense.
It's been 12 years, and they beat the Panthers 26-3. After which, by the way, the Panthers benched Bryce Young. So there's that.
It was only 2 years too late. They should never have drafted him.
But it's
there's a record on this podcast somewhere of me saying this is a mistake.
yeah.
What are they doing? Blah blah blah. It's out there.
J.K. Dobbins had 17 carries for 131 yards and a touchdown for the Chargers. And then
what a steal he was
steal.
from Baltimore.
A steal.
Because they brought in Durick. They had to bounce somebody.
Yep.
He could cost a good bit of money. The only problem is that he's injury prone.
It's
2
true.
years in a row he got hurt.
It's
big injury. So if he stays healthy, he's a steal. If he gets you 3/4 of the way, he's a steal. If he goes out next week,
not so much, right? Yeah, but if he can play 8 or 9 games at this level, you're gonna win
steal.
Most of those games.
That's a great deal.
And Herbert seemed to have found Quentin Johnston. He found him twice, two touchdowns. Looks like that was fairly comfortable connection. So Herbert didn't have to do much. 130 yards, 2 touchdowns. He did throw an interception, but
talk about a team that needs a receiver.
Yeah,
they
could use a number one. Yeah,
so bad.
Yeah, they could use a number one.
But that being said, that was the Panthers, who are terrible.
It was, but they're still 2-0 for the first time in 12 years. So.
They're still 2-0 for the first time, and their defense looks really
good. The
good.
defense looks a lot better because that's been the issue before was that they couldn't stop anybody from scoring. Yeah, so that's been the last, 2-3 years. Anyway, Browns win on the road at the Jaguars 18-30. The Jaguars are 0-2. Deshaun Watson doesn't impress me. Still,
he looks underwhelming.
Underwhelming. Trevor Lawrence looks underwhelming. The Jaguar as a team, I guess, look underwhelming. It wasn't necessarily Trevor Lawrence, but yeah, they just don't look great. The Raiders win at the Ravens. Wow.
That was a good game.
Gardner Minshew rallies the Raiders with 3 fourth-quarter scoring drives. They win 26 to 23.
As only Gardner Minshew could.
I mean, you got to go with the stash, right? That's tough. The Ravens are 0-2. That's a tough start, but they're right there with Cincinnati. We're going to talk about that in a minute, too. Cardinals explode all over the Rams, 41-10. Wouldn't have expected that, but Marvin Harrison Jr., right, comes in with 4 catches for 130 yards. By the way, that's over 30 yards a carry, or 30 yards a catch.
And I know the Rams. I know the Rams don't seem that good, but it's a Sean McVay team. You never quite know what you're going to get down the stretch.
Right.
But wow,
I think they're with.
what a
I
what
think
a performance!
I think they're still without Aaron Donald. Um, so I think that's part of the thing. They've missed him for the first couple of games. The Steelers are 2-0 with a 13-6 win over the Broncos. Um, I know
Are they though?
they are, but it's just in name only. Really, I do love Bo Nix's reaction to the interception question. Um, did you see his answer to the
Oh
question?
wait, hold on, dude, Aaron Donald's retired.
Wait, so without Aaron
I
Donald,
did not know that.
they're 0-2.
uh, without Aaron Donald, they're 0-2.
They're 0-2.
They need some defense.
They could use a player.
uh,
Did you
did I
just
see
Yeah,
who's
Bo Nix,
comment?
when they asked him about him throwing
Oh
interception in the
yeah,
end zone, and he
got back through it to the other team.
threw it to the other team. I love it. I was like, yep, that's. You can't say what more do you
He
want him to
had
say? Yeah.
Here's what I've seen. He played a really tough defense in week 1
Mm-hmm.
in the Seahawks.
Yep.
They've been a tough defense for a decade now.
Yep.
And then he goes on to play a tough Steelers defense, who's been a tough defense for a decade now.
Yeah.
But what I did see from week 1 to week 2, Bo Nix threw the ball more. He had more completions. He had
Right.
246 yards in week 100 and something.
Right.
Like I think he barely got. I don't think he got to 150. So they threw the ball more. They did some more good things. One of these picks is a Hail Mary pick. Gosh, I wish there was his own separate stat line for that crap at the end of games.
Yeah.
But so I liked a lot of what I saw. Did you watch any of it?
I did
Could you
a little
watch
bit.
any of it?
Could
Okay.
could
Did you
I?
see? Well, yeah, I know, like the game, like I
Yeah.
don't know what's broadcast. Where Greg Dulcich, the tight end. Did you see how many drops he had?
No, I did not.
He had 5 drops.
Ooh.
Now, I'll credit 2 of those to being, we'll say, badly placed. A little behind, a little high, something like that.
Yeah.
But they hit him in his hands both times. But it's just he had to do some work to get him. He had 3 drops that were, what the hell, dude?
Really.
Like I'm just sitting over here, and 2 of them were first downs, and one of them was a mid toss play on a first down, so it wasn't going too far, 4 or 5 yards. But still, you're sitting there going, what is going on here? Why is everyone dropping the football? We had 2 running backs have drops. The Denver Broncos had the highest drop rate in the NFL.
Well, you're also dealing. This is a team that hasn't been able to run the football, so
that's not helping us.
Not helping. No.
We keep doing, and I swear to God, I don't understand. I get how you feel sometimes when you're watching something and you're like, I could make millions of dollars to be this bad.
Yeah.
Or they could pay me a lot less and I could be marginally better.
I'd probably be better.
There are moments, there are moments when I will sub in a package, I like Javonte Williams. I think he has a place in the NFL. I'm not sure what that place is. I'm not sure how exactly it looks. However, the guy loves to dance. He loves to make some moves, right?
Yeah.
And the problem is when you're playing TJ Watt, who's about to collapse that right side at any minute, you don't have time to dance.
No, you don't.
It's time to go. We have to move upfield now. And so there were 2-3 times where he'd take the ball on a handoff and kind of shuck and jive for a sec, only to immediately have TJ Watt bearing down on his right side, and the most you're going to get out of this is back to the line of scrimmage or a yard. I don't know. When you have a good pass rusher like that, you counteract them by throwing things like quick screens away from them,
right?
By throwing short little curl routes, things like that. There's a lot of ways to do it, but we just didn't do any of it.
Yeah.
And I don't know if Sean Payton is getting to trust Bo Nix. I don't know if he's like, I don't trust him quite enough, so I'm doing some dumbed down defense or offensive stuff. Whatever it is, it's leading to losses. But our defense, let's go. Our defense is like good for 2 weeks, right? Even against this, I know we gave up points to Seahawks and things like that, but 13 points at home, you should win this game.
Yeah.
Like there's not a lot of excuses for it. So
tough. Harrison Butker hits a 51-yard winner for Kansas City after the penalty. It was a penalty.
It was a penalty.
It wasn't.
It's a soft penalty.
It was a penalty. Yeah, by letter of the law, it's a penalty. It kept that drive alive for the Chiefs, and they win 26-25 over the Bengals. To be honest, that's 2 wins in a row that look sketchy by the Chiefs. They find a
They've
way to
won a
win.
lot of games like that
They
in the
find a
last
way to
some
win.
odd years. Yeah.
But at least their offense is scoring some points because it's not like Steelers Broncos or Texans Bears or there was a lot of games where ain't nobody scoring no points. At least there's 20 something points per team. That's is better. It was a good football game to watch. I thought it was
It wasn't
tight and it
bad.
looked good, and I liked watching. Isaiah Pacheco is a big loss for the Kansas City Chiefs. He goes out hurt. That's gonna hurt. They filled it up with
Yeah.
Hunt, right? Kareem Hunt is back. He's on the practice squad at least. They signed him. I don't know what that means. If they'll play him or if they're gonna just move somebody else up, or I don't know how it's gonna work. But he's back on the Chiefs, so there's that. But anyway, Chiefs win. They're 2-0. The Bengals are 0-2. It's one of those teams that's 0-2. Texans are 2-0 after beating the Bears 19-13. That was the Sunday night game. I did not watch it. I'm going to be honest with you. I had no desire to watch this football game. This is a Sunday night game where I went, meh, I don't even care. Um, should I have watched it? I don't know. Karimi Fairbairn is a great kicker. Um,
Great kicker.
Great kicker. 4 field goals. I mean, he is. 4 field goals for the Texans, and that's what helped them beat the Bears. I don't. I, my jury's still out on Caleb Williams. 23 of 37 this
He
one.
was under an awful
Seven
amount of
sacks.
pressure.
But this is what happens when you go number one with the quarterback and your team's not necessarily ready to have you're not ready to protect him necessarily. You know what I mean?
It's true, but I think they thought they were, and
Yeah.
like I watched the end of that game, and Houston wanted it. Their defense wanted it. They bullied the Bears' offensive line down the stretch.
Yeah, 6 different guys for Houston had a sack.
Yeah, it was incredible. Like every play, I was literally because they were needing chunk yardage to stay in the game, and every single play, the moment Caleb would get to his back foot on like the final part of his drop, somebody's already almost
Got to
there.
move, yeah.
And it's like, man, protect this guy. Like it sucks, and so I don't put this game a ton on Caleb Williams. I don't think he was great. I think he was better, and I think he did as good as he could in what ended up being a slugfest. But his offensive line let him down in the final 2 drives of the game.
Pretty bad. And he ends with a QBR of 21.6, by the way, for the game.
Gosh, what brutal.
That's brutal. Nico Collins is a good receiver. Nico Collins, 8 catches, 135 yards and a touchdown. Nico Collins, holy cow. And this is on a team with Stephon Diggs, right? Yeah. He's the number one, if you ask me.
I know Stephon Diggs came out and said like I'm okay with being a number 2 as long as we're winning like this.
I don't think you get a choice.
In my head, I'm like, you're not gonna be okay if you start losing.
I don't think you get a choice, Stephon. Diggs is a good receiver, but man, Nico Collins looks really good. And then we had the Monday night game, and holy cow.
What a game!
What a game! So Kirk Cousins passes to Drake London for a relatively easy touchdown to
kind of a walk-in.
He stutter stepped and went out, and I don't know what Darius Slay was doing. I have no idea, but he didn't read it. So wide open Drake London, he just kind of tossed it out there, and Kirk Cousins ends with 241 yards and 2 touchdowns, and the Falcons win 22-21. Although the celebration penalty, thank you, Drake London.
Almost.
Right? Made a 48-yard extra point attempt, right? Which is like, whoa, and now it was interesting. But what's his name? Young Hui Koo is one of the best kickers in the NFL. He just is.
Seeing the 48-yard field or extra point attempt made me start to think, shouldn't all extra point attempts be 45?
Well, that'd be great, wouldn't it?
Like we moved it back because it was too easy.
Right.
They're still kicking at a 98%
still pretty
rate.
Easy.
Like, should we move it back another 15 yards?
Yeah. Bijan Robinson looked pretty good. Saquon Barkley looked good, but they didn't.
Yeah.
So they didn't.
They kept steering away from him.
Why? Why would you do that?
No clue. He came out on that first drive and went gangbusters down the field, and then they subbed him out and immediately went 3 and out.
The Eagles ran for 186 yards in this game. 5 yards a carry. Only 1 touchdown. That was Jalen Hurts. But Saquon Barkley looked like he could just get yards whenever you wanted him to.
You wanted him.
And so then at the end of they're driving on 3rd and 3. And they throw the ball to why you're leading the game, right?
Yeah.
And you threw the football on 3rd and 3 down where you're in field goal range, right? Already, but you made an incomplete pass stopped the clock, which helped Atlanta, right? And had to settle for a field goal anyway. Had you run it with a guy like Barkley, who you were pretty much, I mean, 4.3 yards a carry during the game, 95 yards. He was going to get 3 or 4 yards. He might have got you a first down. He might not have, but at least then you're still kicking a field goal with the clock running, or you forced Atlanta to use a timeout.
Right.
And they didn't. And I was like, what were you thinking? What was that thought process like? And he was open. Saquon, that's all on Saquon Barkley. He was open. He just dropped the
Well,
football.
see, that's the kicker of this. This is one of those plays as a coach. You call it because if it works, you're a damn genius.
Yeah, genius.
And if it doesn't work, you're a fool. The analytics said you had a 98% chance of winning if you just run the
Just
dang
run
ball.
the
Even
ball.
if you don't get a first down.
Yeah.
You just run it and kill clock. But if you get it, man, there's
Yeah.
a party in Philly. Everyone's talking. Like, it's a whole thing. But you threw it to the running back who has the highest drop rate of any running back in the last 3 years.
I mean, decisions, right?
I gotta tell you about my emotional roller coaster of this game.
All right.
Because it's a fun story. And I'm so in fantasy, I have Kyle Pitts.
Okay.
And the person I'm playing has Jesse Bates and number 6, Devontae Smith.
Okay.
That's the start. I'm up 20 points when the game starts.
Okay.
What happens? Kyle Pitts does nothing.
Nothing.
All game.
3 catch.
Point whatever. Something
3 catches,
like that.
20 yards.
Yeah. Well, going into that last drive, let's put it this way, he had 2 catches for
Right.
10 yards.
Yeah.
So I think I had a point because this is not a PPR league. But Devontae Smith had been catching stuff like crazy.
Yeah.
So he catched back up all game and then took the lead. And then the Eagles had the ball and were driving to kill the game. And I'm like, well, that's it for me. I'm toast. I'm toast or strudels. We're done here. We got no chance in hell. And then Saquon Barkley drops a pass.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like, crap, there's like a minute and a half left. There's
a
chance.
So you're saying there's a chance.
Maybe yeah, there's a checkdown plays, right? It can happen.
Yeah.
It can happen. I get really excited. Falcons get the ball. First play. He hits him, Kyle Pitts, for 10 yards.
Yep.
And I take the lead.
Yep.
Yes! I get so excited. They drive all the way down the field, and then I'm looking at the clock, and I'm like, there's 45 seconds left. They're going to score too fast.
Too fast.
They're going to score too fast. They throw a touchdown. Ball comes back to Philly, with 34 seconds left or something like that.
Yep.
Philly takes it, and then immediately tries to throw it to Devontae. They throw it underneath to to Goddard. And I go, okay, it's not Devontae. We're good. Maybe they'll just get in field goal range and I'll keep my lead. And then he hucks the ball down the field to Devontae, and I'm like, no. And it gets picked, and I go, yes. And then I see that it's Bates. And I go, no. So I lost the game by like a point.
If he had caught it, you'd have lost the game. If he picked it, you lose the game. It doesn't matter.
The only thing that would have helped me is a breakup. Or
incomplete pass, yeah. Just an incomplete pass.
Anybody else? Well, but if it was an incomplete pass, the pick occurred with 27 seconds left, give or take, like 20 something.
They would have still had a chance.
So they still would have had more chances.
But at least he wouldn't have been out right there.
I went through this emotional roller coaster it was in Cassie was there with me. She was laughing at me the whole time. It was terrible.
Yeah.
It was frustrating.
Fun. How bad are the Cincinnati Bengals at 0-2?
They're not.
Okay.
They're not. I mean, they lost to the Patriots in a game that the refs said they should have won, and then they lost to the Chiefs on a controversial penalty, not penalty type thing. I don't think they're bad. I think they're plenty fine.
How bad are the Ravens at 0-2?
Also, don't think they're that bad, but I think they're worse than Cincinnati. I think they have more red flags than Cincinnati does because I think theirs is like some bad play calling.
Okay.
And I think Lamar, when he needs to throw the ball, is questionable.
Okay.
Like, I still think that. Like, he's don't get me wrong. He's a decent passer. He's better than, half of the league. I'd take him on the Broncos today. But there are moments you see him when he can't run and he has to throw, and he doesn't always make the best decisions. So I'd say they're in a worse position than Cincinnati.
How bad are the Los Angeles Rams at 0-2? Now Cooper Kupp is out. right?
I
And
don't know.
and
They're a weird
they
team.
lost Nakua already, right? So I mean,
You could convince, well, that's true. You could convince me that Arizona just had one
one of
of
those
those
days,
days,
yeah, sometimes.
and that LA just had one of those days, and it is what it is. But yeah, losing Cooper and losing Nakua, that's not great. You're not going to win yourself many games like that. That being said, they were terrible last year and still managed to beat the Seahawks
All right,
in Seattle.
all right.
So who knows?
You got to bet on one of these teams to win the division. You ready?
Yeah.
And not in the same division, but one of these teams has to. You got to bet. You got to put money on one of these teams to win the division. The Minnesota Vikings,
Uh,
the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, or the Seattle Seahawks.
Ooh, that is a good one. I'm gonna say it's Tampa Bay Saints, Bucks. What are the other
Falcons,
teams?
Panthers.
Falcons, Panthers. Nah, it's not. It's got to be the Seahawks.
You think over the Niners? Like they're going to win the division over the
I think
Niners?
injuries could be
It
the
could be.
factor there.
And the Niners.
I don't think the Seahawks are better than the Niners, but I think they could be better than the Niners on any given day when the right people are injured.
And the Niners have a couple of those
And they have a couple of
already.
Debo's going out right now with an injury.
Yeah, they're starting to mount up in the league. So there's that. Okay.
I would say better to get them out of the way early than get them out of the way, than have them occur late when you're trying to make your playoff push.
Okay.
But the Seahawks of those ones, but that's only because I think the Saints look really good.
Which one of these three teams, if you had to pick one, could make the postseason? You ready?
Yeah.
Colts, Jaguars, Titans, all 0-2.
Oh. Based on the way they're playing,
Uh-huh.
I'm gonna say it's the Titans.
Okay.
I feel like they've been more competitive in their games.
They have, but they've given up the most points.
They've given up the most points, but I just something about their offense looks like it could work.
Okay.
Whereas the Colts look disjointed, even though they have one of the best running backs out there. And the Jacksonville Jaguars, I don't know what the hell is going on with them, man.
Right.
They don't have any excuses. They've got all the same people from last year and the same coach. Like, what are you breaking in still?
I don't know.
Like, I don't get it. So I would say it's the Titans.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I think that's all the questions I have. Those are the only ones I have questions on.
I got my last trivia question.
You do. You get your last trivia question. Let me make sure that I didn't have another question about these NFL teams. No, I think we're good.
Heck yeah.
I think we're good. I think we talked about enough. What's coming this week though? Hang on. Let me get the. I don't have it right here.
Oh, the future schedule.
Yeah, hang on a second. I'll pull it up right here. I have week 4.
There's some good games
somewhere.
this week too in the NFL.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking for. I hate the schedule, but that's okay. I got the schedule. So what we're looking at this week in terms of big games, Houston, Minnesota is a big game, right? Both teams are 2-0 at Minnesota.
Houston goes on the road way up north.
Right. Philadelphia at New Orleans, right? Well, we'll see how good Philadelphia's defense is if New Orleans is that hot, right? You got the Chargers at Pittsburgh, both 2-0.
That's a good one.
That's a good one. You're going to have a Tagovailoa-less Miami at Seattle. I'm not sure that's going to be any good.
Does a week of preparation give you a better chance with Thompson? Maybe.
Maybe.
You have all of the other pieces on that team to beat Seattle.
You do.
It's just the quarterback.
Baltimore plays at Dallas.
Might be the best game of the weekend.
That could be. The Detroit Arizona. We'll see which Arizona team shows up in that one. That could be a good game too. And then San Francisco and the Rams. I mean, if the San Francisco is that banged up, maybe this is how the Rams win their first game.
Oh snap!
I don't know, but you also have 2 Monday night games. So I don't like it. I don't like the 2 Monday night games because they start at the same time. I don't. Why would you do that? Why would you make it so we can't watch both of them? That is a dumb thing.
Well, they start an hour apart.
You're right. I can tune into both and watch an hour, the first hour of this one, and then.
Well, you hope that by the end of the first quarter of Buffalo Jacksonville that you don't need to watch it. I mean, both these games are not great.
They're
games.
not great
I'd
games.
rather watch Buffalo play Cincinnati than watch either. And I'd rather
right. Yeah, that would be a better game.
Washington.
Yeah,
but either of these things.
But my point is that why? I mean, we're gonna have 2 Monday night games. Well, yeah, but you can't watch them both. That's dumb.
Is this something they're doing all year?
No,
Or is this like a one-off? Like we have to do something.
They have 2 next week. Also, Tennessee, Miami, Seattle, Detroit. Seattle, Detroit might be a good football game.
That
Um,
will be a good
and
game.
then they go back to the ones. I think they do a two for a while, and I don't remember why they do two. I don't know what it is, but I
I
just
wonder if this is just a scheduling
but they
thing or something like
but when
that.
they did this starting I don't know 4 or 5 years ago. They started putting two games on Monday night, and it was okay with me because one was at 4:30 and one was at 7:30. I'm okay with that. At least people have the opportunity to watch both games or record both games or do whatever you're going to do. But you could sit and watch football all Monday night if you're off on Monday or whatever. But you can't do that if they're on
You
at the
ready to
same
hear
time.
why?
Sure.
So Monday Night Footballs have come. Disney, which owns ESPN, increased its number of regular season games per contract adjustment from 17 to 23. So ESPN, ABC has to get 23 games a season on TV. With
Mm,
only 17 weeks,
yeah.
you're gonna double up some stuff and you're gonna have some other movement. So
Yeah, I guess.
that's it. That it's literally a money thing. I will say this though, if you're a big football fan and you're into the Jaguars or whatever, and your team sucks, or you're in the Commanders and your team sucks, you might be inclined to watch something else on Sunday afternoon.
Right. Yeah,
But
for
when it's in
sure.
prime time, you're going to tune in. So maybe this is a way to boost viewership numbers for certain teams at by just placing them at a
I
time when they're not competing with five other games.
I suppose, but when you just have one Monday night game, I'm watching that game, no matter how bad it is. I'm probably gonna watch
Oh,
it.
I'm gonna have two TVs,
Oh
bro.
yeah,
I
I
want to see
suppose
them
there's
both.
there's
Yeah, I
that,
can't. I
but
can't not. Well, are you gonna see? That's another thing. Are you gonna put Red Zone back on Mondays?
right.
Because I love Red Zone. I don't know if you watch
Oh,
Red Zone, but
I
it is
do.
one of my favorites. Yeah, it
Yeah,
is so good.
it makes it a lot easier to
But
keep up with what's going
it
on.
makes it so much easier.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, that's weird.
All right, what's this last trivia question? Let's do it.
All right, there are four teams that have alliterative names. What are they?
NFL teams,
NFL teams.
alliterative names. So you mean like,
Like Bob's Burgers.
yeah, I know what I know what an, I know what an alliteration is. I'm trying to get the first one out of my head. Um, hold on to that. The Jacksonville Jaguars is one.
That is
Um,
one.
let's see here. Let me think. Hold. Um, okay, hold on. Wow, this is Buffalo Bills.
Buffalo Bills. That's right.
Okay, I got to go through them all in my head. That's the only. It's the only way.
I had to do the same thing after my second one. I started going through by division.
Does it? The Tennessee Titans.
Tennessee Titans at three. Yep.
There's one more.
Uno mas.
Um. Okay, if you say so. We don't count. Like we don't count like the second half of a name, like Kansas City Chiefs, right?
No.
Okay,
That's
so
not
that's
no.
okay. I just
That
want
does
to. I
not
want to
count.
make sure that
So
we're
no New Yorks, no Kansas City, no LA's. Yeah, because I think those are all the ones that have two. Oh, and no Tampa Bay's.
right. Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Well, San Francisco
Yeah.
49ers.
Not that one either.
Right. Okay. All right. Good. I don't. I don't know. Why do I not know this? I don't know. Who's the other one?
If you need a hint, I can get. It should be the easiest one on this list
Why should why should it be the easiest one on the list?
because it's the closest to you.
What? Oh, Seattle. Yeah. Duh.
Seattle Seahawks.
Yeah, that's right.
Yep. So the order in which I got them in was Seattle, Jacksonville, Tennessee, Buffalo. Because
Right.
was in Seattle the first time I heard this
Ah.
question. I was like, oh, well, that makes more sense.
Nice.
But yeah, I thought that was a pretty good one. So I'm gonna try and look for more of these types of questions, and then we can do. If you're into it, and if
Yeah.
everyone else who's listening is into it, we could do a regular question at the beginning, one a fun one that you bring, and then at the end, I could try and find one of these types of questions.
These questions are good. These
They're
questions
fun
are
to
good.
make you think.
It's kind of like the question of how many NFL teams have a mascot that isn't a living thing.
Uh, what's the total number?
Oh, you want that? You want me to give
Well,
you
I
that?
told you there were four teams that had
So-
alliterative names.
So here's the issue you run into with that. One of the teams that I would consider not a living thing is mythical, which is why I don't consider it a living thing, like a real thing. Yeah, mythical. It's not a real thing. So
Well, I know the Browns are
So
one.
there's three that I know of. I haven't really
Okay.
researched it, but there's three. But that's that kind of
Okay.
question where I go, okay.
Is Browns one?
The Browns are one. Cleveland Browns.
Chargers?
Yeah, so no, I guess there's four. Like, I didn't even thinking about the Chargers. I don't know what
But
a Charger
Charger
is.
refers. But Charger. Well, a Charger refers. To,
The
oh my
Bolt?
gosh, I'm going to educate you. So no. The owner of the San Diego football team when they expanded and they were creating their football team or whatever it was, he owned a credit card company.
Oh.
Chargers refers to charging a credit card.
Oh, so it might be
That's where
people.
it. So technically, it's people because people have to do the thing,
The
but
charging,
I
yeah.
don't know.
Okay, we'll
The
call that
Jets
one an iffy.
one.
The Jets are one, yeah.
Oh man, what
And
would
the other one, which I said
the other
was
one?
mythical.
Mythical.
Yeah, mythical. It's
That
not.
feels like that should be a big, broad giveaway, but
It
I don't
should.
know of any. I don't know of any Pittsburgh Pegasus out there. So,
Well,
uh,
no, because that'd be
see,
that
Steelers.
would have been
See,
alliterative.
I know the
The
Steelers
Steelers
would
are
be in the same boat as the
they're
Chargers.
steel workers though. That one,
Right, but in
yeah,
Chargers are people charging credit
right.
cards.
So we're gonna go with
I
people.
feel like if
Yeah.
I feel like if you count one, you have to
Right.
count the other.
Sure.
What the hell?
All right.
Oh, Titans.
The Titans, Tennessee Titans, yeah.
Titans.
which
Mythical.
isn't a real thing. You know what I mean? It
Yeah.
is. It isn't. So you know what I mean? Okay.
Well, debatable.
Yeah, they're mythical. It's mythical life something. So
Yeah.
but they may not even have been real. So who knows? So they
Yeah.
may not. Maybe it's a real thing. Anyway, here you go. But those kind of questions, you can ask. You can ask a lot of those things. How many? Quickly, how many NFL teams wear green? That kind of thing. You're like,
Do the Seahawks count?
Yeah, the Seahawks can.
I love these questions.
Yeah, the Seahawks
Oh
can.
yeah, there's plenty of them then, right?
How many is plenty? What are you talking about here? And I would take any shape or form of green.
Packers, Seahawks, Jets.
Mm-hmm.
I'm rolling through the South right now. That's the sound of me rolling through it. That's it? No, there's another one.
There's
No.
a couple more
There's a couple more that wear
green that wear green. Yeah, I mean they're not maybe necessarily the primary color, but they're green. Yeah, but yeah.
What?
Well, all right, you ready?
Yeah. Who are they?
Jacksonville has green in their
It's
colors.
turquoise. That's
Okay,
closer
it's
to
a green.
blue.
It's better than Miami's.
I'm
Miami's not
Googling
green.
it. Is
Miami's not green.
Is turquoise closer to blue or green? I'm googling it. I gotta know.
Miami's aqua. See, so it's not a green. But Jacksonville's green. That's a green color. You've seen their uniform.
Freaking AI. It says turquoise is a color that's between blue and green.
It's green.
Thanks.
It's green enough. It's greener than Miami's. And then the Eagles.
Oh, the Eagles.
The Eagles are green. Yeah.
Dagnabbit.
See, there you
Yeah.
go. Yeah, there's a good question.
That's a great.
Those are things that make you think, and you can do it in any sport. You can do it in baseball or basketball or whatever, and you can make people go, "Ooh, I don't know, how many basketball teams have birds?" As you know what I mean, that kind of thing.
Well, according to scientists, it is closer to green. So
There we go. See, I would
So
consider it green
I'll give you that.
when
yeah.
they wear it. It looks green. So
Wait, but what is teal?
yeah, I don't
That's
know.
what the
Also-
Jaguars wear.
Also is green and blue, but it is what it is.
Teal is officially a blue-green.
All right, we'll call them blue and green then. They can cover both.
This is the important stuff people tune in to hear.
It is. This is really. I mean, these are the things that make you go,
Oh,
what?
I'm actually looking at like a thing here. It says teal is more blue than green. Turquoise is more green than blue. Teal
good
is low
lord.
saturation. Turquoise is high saturation. I can get into all this
Sure.
later.
I think.
I have their hex codes. We can look it up. We can start painting our walls.
Paint those
one
colors
wall
in.
teal and one wall turquoise.
Let's see
and
what
then we
happens.
debate.
Yeah. You know what? Maybe I'll go find some and I'll just hold them up in the camera and we can just. What color is this? Oh, that's the Jets green. Anyway.
Gotham.
Yeah.
That's Gotham.
Gotham green. Is that what we call it? Anyway. All right. Well, that's all I have for today. Unless you got something else that you want to talk about.
I'm tapped out.
Yeah, I'm tapped out. I gotta go to bed. It's way past my bedtime because I'm old. Want to thank ESPN and NBC, ABC, CBS Sports, Fox Sports. I want to thank F1, the NFL. Who else did we cover? College football.
College football.
College
All
football.
Of college football.
All of college football. And then I put on my short little outro, and I'm gonna go over. See what I did there? Because that's what I do. Anyway, I want to thank all of those, and I want to thank our sponsors. Boss Kitty Yarns and Stone Wine Estates in Hood River. This has been a Brain Rock production, division of Lonely Tree Media. Thanks for listening, and we'll talk to you next week.